And we have a great show for you. You know how it rolls. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Please subscribe. All right. We'll be right back on. Don't you go anywhere. Let me get my breath and my tongue correct. Welcome back to the show. Okay, so now that I've gotten all the blah 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 out of the way, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can get us on Apple, Google Play, Stitcher, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Deezer, Vimeo, Roku, and on Amazon Fire, Yaya Diamond TV, Yaya Diamond Music TV, all in different places. Just Google it, okay? But most definitely, we are here to inspire you to go after your dream. We have stories of people going after their dreams and how they did it and how they made it. And this is to show you that there really is no one way, concrete way to make it. You just have to go out there and do it. And my next guest is doing that. She is amazing. I want to welcome Miss Margo Thunder to the show. Welcome, girlfriend. How you doing?
Hey, hey, how are you? Good morning. I keep saying morning because I'm in LA,
Right.
but I know it's afternoon for you guys.
You don't even know. I mean, it could be good evening in some places, so
It
it's
could be,
okay.
it could
It's
be.
okay. It's all right. So how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to finally meet you. I've been hearing so many good things about you, so it's great to meet you.
Oh, don't believe all the hype. Oh.
No, don't disappoint me now.
Okay, I'll try not to. But Margo, then I'm telling you, thank you so much again for being on the show.
Oh,
You do amazing music. Tell me, how did you get started?
look, I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. First of all, and I want to give a big up to the New Edition tour that's going on because those
Oh
are my
yeah.
Boston boys,
Yeah.
So I grew up in Boston, and I'm one of nine children, single mother. I'm the middle child, and my mother discovered one day that I could sing. I was sitting behind the couch next to a speaker listening to Aretha Franklin, and I'm just singing along, singing along. And I had no idea that I could sing. It was just, I just loved Aretha Franklin's voice. I had never heard anything like that before. And so I'm singing, and so my mother goes, "Was that you?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, there's a little talent show that's going on in the neighborhood. You should join." I'm like, "No, I really didn't want to be a singer. I thought I'd be building houses or doing something different. Never thought about music." And so my mother, in her wisdom, she tricked me. She said, "Oh, I know why you don't want to do this thing because you think those other little kids are going to kick your butt." So I said, "Oh,
Ooh.
challenge." I said, "Sign me
That's a
up."
dare.
That was a dare and
That
a
is a
challenge.
dare.
So I said, "Sign me up." I went and I did this talent show, and the prize was if you won three times, you got to go to the Apollo Theater. So I won. I won the talent show three times in a row. Boom, boom, boom. I go to the Apollo Theater. When I get to the Apollo Theater, and this is way back, in the 70s, amateur night, they didn't let you come upstairs. You stayed in the basement until it was your time to come on. So when I got there and I saw the banner and it was Aretha Franklin headlining, I tried to lose my mind. And so the people that were working with me at the time, they snuck me up so I could see Aretha Franklin, and she was sitting there singing, "These are my same old shoes." And I just lost it. I was like, I am going to be a singer. And I never looked back.
Wow.
And
Wow.
from there, I go back to Boston. And so, I'm the big thing. Oh, she won the Apollo Theater. So, they had a little local television show, and they had me on this show. And just so happened to be that there's a group called Tavares, and their manager was in Boston he was getting an operation for something. And I just flashed on the television. He goes, "Who's this little girl?" You know, and they're like, "We need to sign this girl." So what ends up happening is that I meet him. He takes me out to California. I signed to Capitol Records when I was 11 years old.
What?
Yeah, and it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey.
Wow. That is
And so,
amazing.
at when they signed me, my first single, they listened to my voice and like, she doesn't sound like a kid. So they were like, they didn't know how to write for me. So they wrote this song called Soul of a Woman. And that was my first single. And then after
Mm.
that, I did a remake of a song called Expressway to Your Heart. And from there, I just continued to do stuff, and they felt like they weren't soulful enough writers for me. So they sent me to New York, where I worked with some producers that at the time they were doing Sister Sledge and all these other people. And so my first session in New York, my background singer was Luther Vandross.
Mm.
And I come
Mm.
in and I didn't know who Luther was.
Oh
I
my
come in and I was having a bad day. So I'm in the bathroom and I'm boo-hooing. And I'm one of those people that I don't like people to see me cry. So I'm like, okay. I'm in the bathroom. They're like, where's Margo? We need to get her out here so she can sing a reference vocal. So like they come knock on the door. I come out, get myself together. And I go into the studio and they're like, oh, can you sing a reference vocal so the background singers can lay down the background tracks?
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm walking to the studio, I hear all this great music. I'm like, wow. And I walk in and Luther and two other background singers were there and they were just blowing. So I'm like, man, I need to be singing background for these people. And so, I come in and I start singing, this ballad that I was singing, and everybody in the studio just started crying. And at this time, I was like 14 years old.
Now, wait a minute. We have to stop you. Hold on a second. I got to hear this. I told you.
Oh, you went and got it, huh?
I got the soul of a woman. I got the heart of a lady.
Now remember, this is 11.
Now don't let my dimples fool you. It's just like the teacher said. You can't judge a book by its cover until the whole book's read. Well, I may look a little too little, but don't count me out on sight. 'Cause if I ever get you alone, you're in for a strong surprise. I got the soul of a woman and the disguise of a little girl. You know, I got the heart of a lady underneath.
All right. I had to do it. I had to go get it. Oh my gosh,
Oh,
I
wow.
love it.
It's so crazy because I haven't heard the song in so long, and just to hear it, and so that was my first single. And by the time I get to New York, and I'm working with Luther and all these great people, I did a song called "Don't You Have Any Love in Your Heart." That was a single. I recorded the ballad first, but they felt like they needed to go with an up-tempo song, so they released this song called "Don't You Have Any Love in Your Heart." And I was like so pissed because like the ballad was such a beautiful song, and I think somebody has it up on YouTube. The song is called "From Her Arms Into Mine," and
Okay.
it was just like, for me, I just felt that song. And so when they released the other song, what can you do? You're at the mercy of a record company. So
Yeah.
you got to do what they want to do.
Well, let's I'm just gonna have to stop you for a second. Let's go ahead and let's listen to "Don't You Have Any Love in Your Heart Anymore," right? That's the one that we were talking about.
That's the one that came out.
Right. Okay. So we're gonna do this real quick.
Okay.
Shoe brand all over TikTok. It's called.
Okay, here we go. So this one you didn't want to do.
I didn't want it to be the single.
Okay.
Because the other song was so pretty.
Okay.
You got the extended version. I've never even heard this. Yeah, this is real extended.
Oh, it's extended.
I would have been through the song by now.
Baby, where you been? I think I got the right to know. You've been keeping me up at night. Don't you have a home?
Yo, girl.
I'm tired of working all day long and spend the night alone. Nobody giving me what you promised me all along. There's got to be changes.
Here comes Luther.
If you won't just keep me around now.
That's so cool.
Let me know, yeah. Or even let me go. Don't you have any love in your heart? Don't you have any love in your heart? Don't you have any love in your heart?
Uh-oh. I'm sorry. I almost tipped my chair over. That is so, I love that song. Okay, so I love this. Okay, so we got to go back now, be fair. We have to go ahead and listen to the one that you really wanted. What was the one that you really wanted?
It was called From Her Arms Into Mine.
Okay.
See if
Gotta
it
find it. Is this the one?
That's it.
Okay, let's listen to it.
She stood against all the things you stood for. Your every pain was her joy. Out of hell into heaven, you made the rugged climb. From her arms into mine.
Luther?
Smiling sometimes, salt. All the rocks and reels.
Oh, wow.
Out of darkness into light, you made it over the line. From her arms into mine.
Oh my gosh.
Hey.
What a history. Oh gosh, to have Luther Vandross singing in your
Right?
songs.
And I mean, the thing I remember most about that session, and like when I was just listening to that song, I could still hear, because I told you I had been crying, so I could hear the little cry in my voice, which actually made the song more sentimental to people, because it was like, wow, where's this kid getting all this feeling from?
And how old were you?
I was 14 at that time, yeah, and because like when I recorded the first stuff, I was 11, but they didn't put it out until I was 13, because at the same time they signed me, they signed Natalie Cole. So, they went with Natalie Cole first, and you can't,
of course.
And so like all the stuff was kind of pushed back and delayed. But, for me with that session, I just remember Luther telling me, like, after I started singing that song, everybody broke down and they were crying. And Luther came up to me and he said, don't you ever change anything about you. Don't let this industry change you. You are great. And that just stuck with me. It's like, wow, and again, at the time, I didn't know who he was. But I remember after that session going back home to Boston, telling my mother, this guy named Luther sung background on my record. And Ma, he can really sing. And my mother was like, Luther Ingram? I said, no, that's not him. I can't remember his last name. A few years later, Never Too Much comes out. And I run in there and say, that's the Luther that sung background on my records.
Let me tell you, man, Luther was like, what?
Oh, and so when Never Too Much came out, Luther was performing in Boston at a place called the Berkeley Performance Center. And I was like, I said, I'm going to go. And I bet you he won't even remember me because, here I am, like I'm about 19 now. And so I walk in the door, I go in the back, go backstage. He looks at me and points. He said, Margo Thunder. And it just made my day. And we remained friends until he passed away.
Oh, so sad, man. I miss his voice.
Oh, what a voice. It's just like, I call Luther the singer's singer, because it's like, just the things that he did with his voice were just amazing to me, and I'm a fan of,
Mm-hmm.
like just a pure voice. I've always been a fan of that. And I think that's why I was so drawn to Aretha Franklin. And,
Mm-hmm.
like Whitney had one of those voices
Oh
that,
yeah.
that, you hear that voice and you're like, that's Whitney Houston. And for
Mm-hmm.
me as an artist, when I was a kid, all I sung was Aretha Franklin songs. So I stopped singing for like 6 months before I went to record with Capitol, because I said, I got to find a sound that people are going to say, this is Margo Thunder,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or at the time, my real name is Margaret Furtado.
Yeah,
And the
well.
company changed my name because they said, nobody will ever remember Furtado. And then 30 years later, here comes Nelly Furtado, and everybody can say the name. And
I know, right? Go figure.
know.
Wow.
But
I
yeah.
love the fact that your voice was so mature at such a young age. I mean, I don't think many people can say that. I mean, I sound like a squeaking eel at that age.
For me, I felt like I had to grow into my voice, and like when I told you I recorded a remake of a song called Expressway to Your Heart, which was actually the song that did better than all the songs that I had. And after I did that song, there was a movie company, and they were like, oh, we want to use that woman that sings the Expressway to Your Heart song. And the record company said, that's not a woman, it's a little girl. She's only 13 at the time. And so they were like, they didn't believe it. So they had to send my publicity pictures. And the company said, you know what? We don't care. We still want her to sing this theme song. And so what ends up happening is the theme song was for an X-rated movie called The Happy Hooker. And I ended up singing at 13 the theme song for The Happy Hooker. Talk about a crazy life, right?
Oh my gosh. I'm done. I've heard everything now. I just
You're just like
yeah. Well, when you have the voice,
yeah,
you
and that's
got
what
the
I'm saying.
voice.
It was so mature for that time that they really, really didn't know what to do with me. So after my Capitol days, and remember, I'm still in high school. I'm just going into high school when all this stuff is happening. So like when my I had a singles deal with Capitol. So after I had done the singles that I was contracted to do, I was out of a record deal and I was in high school. So it really, I'm trying to begin my life. And so when I get to high school, it's like one of the first music high schools that they had in Boston. And I got into the school because they were getting ready to bus me. I don't know if you remember the busing back in the day, but they were getting ready to bus me to this school called South Boston High, where Black people weren't welcome. Trust me. And so my last day of junior high, because I never sang in school, like the kids knew who I was, but none of my teachers knew. And so the last day of school, we're all in this assembly room, and I'm looking out the window and I see these two people like getting ready to make out on a rooftop. And I started singing, touch me in the morning. And my teacher was like, who's that? They were like, she sings. You didn't know that? And that teacher got me into this music high school. So I got saved from being bused into a music high school.
Wow.
And then going into the high school, I met two girls, Wanda Perry and Leslie Jones, who passed away. And, her birthday was a couple of days ago, and I'm still not over it. But I met these two girls and we had music class together. We were in like a glee club or the choir. And so our teacher every Friday, he would pick out people and put us together and say, I want you to put together a song, like a project. So he said, he picked the three of us, you, next week, you guys are in here and you're going to do something. So we're like, okay, whole week, we just blow it off. Then Friday comes and we're like, oh man, we never did work on anything. So we run into the ladies' room and, I told you my favorite was Aretha. So I said, you guys know Bridge Over Troubled Water? They were like, yeah. So we start singing, we're giving each other the notes, don't. And we go into the class and we sing this Aretha Franklin version of Bridge Over Troubled Waters. The whole class just goes nuts. Like, how
Wow.
long did you guys practice that? And we had just practiced it before we got in there. And I had never wanted to be in a group because I heard all the nightmare stories about female groups and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And so but with this, the sound was just so great. It was like just this undeniable sound. And they were a couple of years older than me, so they graduated before I did. So every day after I got out of school, I would go up to their jobs. We should be a group. We should be a group. And they were like, we got jobs. We got responsibilities. So I was like, yeah, you don't want to do this job. And I stayed on them for like about a year. And then finally, both of them said, okay, let's just rehearse and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So we start this rehearsal. And, we're practicing all the female groups, the LaBelles and the Emotions, the Jones Girls, we're learning all these songs. But we're like, we don't want to be just like any other group. So we're throwing male groups in, Cameo, this one, that one.
Mm-hmm.
And so finally, there was a newspaper in Boston called The Phoenix. So we said, well, what are we going to do? Let's put an ad in the paper and see. Put 3 female singers looking to join a band or looking for a band. The first call we get is Joe Frazier, the boxer. His music director calls and said, we need 3 background singers. And so that was like our first gig that we had. And we sung background for Joe Frazier.
Wow. Joe Frazier.
I mean,
I try to figure that out. I mean, wow, that's kind of cool though.
He wasn't a singer, but he was a great guy. And the thing was, everybody just loved him because he was, he beat Muhammad Ali. He was the heavyweight champion of the world. And so, we go on the road with him and, we're young and we're trying not to be laughing at his singing and come on, we got to be professional. But he ended up being really, really a great guy. Learned a lot of things from him. And from that, with the group, we're like, well, we don't want to just be background singers or, So we started our own band and it was called Margo Thunder and Intrigue. And at the time we did that because people knew me around Boston because I had records so we could get gigs. Mm-hmm. We did that for a little while. And then one day my phone rings and my brother's like, it's a guy named, he said his name is Richard Dimples something. I'm like, huh? I was like, get out of here. So I just go back to rehearsing and I leave him on the phone for about 10 minutes. My brother comes back. He's like, did you ever answer the phone? I'm like, no. He said, the man is still waiting on the phone for you. So I said, I go upstairs and I answer the phone. I'm like, hello. He said, hey, baby, I heard you are one of the best singers, da-da-da-da-da. And I said, yeah. He said, and I'm looking to replace one of my background singers. I said, well, if you're just looking for one singer, I can't help you because there's 3 of us. Mm-hmm. He said, what? You would turn down a major tour for these other 2 women? I said, if you heard these other 2 women, you'd see why. He said, if you feel that strongly, he said, I'm coming. Come pick me up. I'm going to come over and listen to you guys rehearse. He came over. And at the time I was working on this arrangement for Feel the Fire, for People Bryson's Feel the Fire with the group. So we sung that for, boom, you guys got the gig. And we're like, huh? And so we still had some more gigs. So we had a gig that night. Dimples was like, well, can I come to your gig? I said, yeah. He comes to the gig. We do our gig. At the end of the gig, he said, you guys got to leave tomorrow. I need you guys right away. Because we were supposed to a couple of weeks later meet up with him. Mm-hmm. But he said, no, I need you guys now. And so from that, we went on tour with him. We learned all this stuff on the bus. And, after the tour, because the tour was the Whispers, the Dazz Band, and Richard Dimples Fields. And so after the tour, the Whispers was like, oh, man, those girls are great. They wanted to produce us. Everybody wanted Dimples. Oh, no, this is my group. And I'm leading you up to the 9.9 group, and that's how the 9.9 group started, is that we were Dimples background singers. And after that tour, we moved to LA. We started working on the 9.9 album. And from that, we got into some disagreement. So for me, I'm like, I'm going back home. I went back to Boston. We continued working. One day I get a phone call. Dimple's like, RCA wants to sign you guys. We got to finish this album. It's like, well, if we finish it, you got to come to Boston. He comes to Boston. He sends this track called All of Me for All of You, but it wasn't for the group. It was for him. He's like, he called me Bean because of Boston, and I was the youngest. He called me Baby Bean. Baby Bean, I need you to put some background on this record. I put I hear the song, I like start singing the melody, all of me for all of you. I'm like, this song should be for us. So when he walked in the door, I said, Dimples, I need to talk to you. It's like, what's up? I said, that All of Me song should be for us. He said, you really think so? I said, no, I know so. That song should be for 9.9. So he goes, if you feel like that, he said, then go ahead in there and sing it. He just handed me the lyrics, and I just sung the song all the way through.
What?
Then he pressed the button. He said, how you know that song goes like that? I said, because that's how I feel it. He said, but it just needs to do something. And he kept pointing his finger like this. And I said to the engineer, I said, Paul, go back to where it says, I'm bringing you a woman, bring me a man. He went back. I sung the high note. Everybody in the studio was like, oh my God. And he runs to the payphone. He calls RCA because they were releasing another single on us called I Like the Way You Dance. He said, you guys gotta put that song on hold. I got the hit record right here. He holds up the phone. He plays a song. The rest was history for the 9.9 group.
Wow. And is that on YouTube by any chance?
There's a video. It's on
Oh, wait, hold on.
All of Me for All of You.
all of me for all of you. Let's go ahead and 9.9. Give me a second, because I found what? Give me a second now. Let me go ahead.
I got you doing your homework. Huh?
What? You understand. I grew up in the music industry. My mom's Evelyn Thomas. She sings the song High Energy. And from like 4.
Wow.
All the way up. I mean, music. And I remember this song. I'm not gonna lie to you. I remember this song. This was the jam. This was the jam, okay?
She and millions like us walk.
And what's so crazy about the song, because people know me as Margo Thunder. They're like, you sung that song?
This is amazing. Look at you guys. My gosh. I remember those kind of pants. Hold on a second.
That was the 80s.
I know.
Jamming in there.
I remember this song. It's like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I haven't heard this in so long. Oh my gosh! Yes! You know what I love? I used to sing this song. Hold on a second. I have to pause this. I used to sing this song. My mom used to say, shut up. Shut up. Your little squeaky voice is bothering me. When I was young, I had the highest pitched voice, so squeaky. My mom would be like, stop it, just stop. But no, this was the jam. Hold on, I gotta go back. We gotta hear it.
This is the beginning of a love for us. We're holding, squeezing, talking that I love stuff. I need you, want you more than anyone should be. Allowed to me, I want anything. Bring to me the same thing I bring in. Oh, by the way, one more thing. It's all I need for all of you. Nothing less will ever do. I can give you all of me on behalf of you.
Yes. Oh, okay, I gotta stop. Okay, let me just stop. It's gonna have to go. I'm just gonna. Okay. Memories. Oh my gosh, I love that song.
Oh my goodness.
That
So,
was a jam. Okay, that was a jam.
that came from me bugging them two girls to come join this group. I'm like, we're gonna be, and like when you're young, you just think we're gonna be stars. You don't think
Uh-huh.
of nothing else. And when I say stars, I don't mean like big headed. We just wanted
Right.
to share this gift that we had with everybody. And so the record comes out, it blows up, and then they released the second single, which was the first single that they were going to release, which was called I Like the Way You Dance. And from that we got to do, and this is the funny thing is, because when we signed to RCA, we were signed as a R&B group. But when All of Me came out, it crossed over. So then they introduced us to the pop division, and different things started happening. We're like, well, who are these people? We met all these other people. And so, but from that, we did like Soul Train, we did American Bandstand, we did Solid Gold. It was another show called Dance Fever back then. We even went to London. They have a Soul Train in London at the time. And we did Soul Train over there as well.
I love it. I love it. I love that song. Unfortunately, my voice didn't really fit that time. I was so high. Can you hear it? It was just like squeaky. I had this squeaky little voice. I didn't grow into my voice until my 20s. But it's like, you have to grow into your voice, like you said. And I think, from when you were 11 all the way up until this point, you were in the music industry. Did you even have like a McDonald's job or like a regular job? It was just singing.
It was singing. And, like now's the time we got to have a McDonald's job because the music industry is so damn different.
Yeah, right.
But back then, I mean, we worked every week. There was some place to do live music and, so no, I sang up and, all the way through the 90s, to the 2000s, I was singing. Because after that group, the two girls that were in that group, they left to pursue gospel careers. And so, here I am, I'm left, okay, what am I going to do? And then like all these girls were like, you should just put together another group, And so I held auditions and I put another group together called Lady Soul. And we got signed to Maurice Starr's label.
Okay.
And from that group, we did the Sister Act, the first Sister Act movie. We had a song on the soundtrack called If My Sister's in Trouble with Whoopi Goldberg. And, we did the video and then we were like so disappointed because everybody was in the video except for Whoopi, because at the time she was renegotiating her contract for Sister Act 2. And so, but she made up for it because they gave her an award at Harvard University called the Hastings Pudding Award. And they said, well, who do you want to entertain for you? She said, I want Lady Soul to come in. And so we got to meet her and, take pictures. And at that point, the Sister Act song had gone gold. I don't know if you can see it in back of me, the plaque in back of me.
So, so I wanted to put that out because I wanted to make sure that people know what's the name exactly of that song on YouTube. I want to bring it up.
It's called If My Sister's in Trouble. Okay. And the group was called Lady Soul.
Okay. I'm going to grab it. Okay, look at this. Oh, wait, hold on a second now. I might just have something special for you. Okay? I might just have something real special for you. Give me a second. Give me a second. Don't you know? Don't you know?
Don't make me scared.
Okay, hold on a second. Here we go.
Oh, will they let you play it?
Now you know you look 80s.
Get to see me with my big wig on.
You ever feel it when people get unkind? You can hear it in their voices. They got poison on their minds. Though ignorance should never be excused, I'll do my best to shake off their attitude. I'm walking away again. But there's one thing that will make me take a stand. If my sister's in trouble, I will always help her out. If my sister's in trouble,
I'm just watching. I'm like, wow. I remember these songs. Wow. We're going like through
It's for me,
history here.
it's been a long journey, from the 70s to the 80s. Now we're up to the 90s,
Wow.
and so after the Ladies Soul group disbanded, I was like, you know what, it's time for me to go full circle and do what it is that I do, and so in 2010 I put out a CD called R&B 101, and I finally, let me show you the cover. Here you go.
Okay. Hey,
Hey,
it's
me.
just you.
And so I finally got a chance to do the Feel the Fire song, because like we did it in our show. And at the time I was working with Belinda Wilson, Ken Wilson, and Eddie Sims. And Belinda managed the 9.9 group. So, we have been together for years. So they were like, okay, Margo, let's do this album. And when I wrote songs, I never heard these songs for me. I always thought, oh, this would be a good song for Mary J. Blige. This would be a good song. But I never heard any song that I wrote for me except for one song that's on that CD, and it's called One of Nine, that I wrote for my mother before she passed away. And so like with that CD, I got a chance to finally do Feel the Fire. And I had a video for it. And, when Peebo Bryson heard it, he got in contact and he said, that's one of the best arrangements of my song that I've ever heard. He said, I did it. Teddy Pendergrass did it. Then Stephanie Mills did it. He said, but this arrangement that you have done in my song is like one of the best ones that I've heard. So it, it just really made me feel good that, he was taking notice. Oh, wow, there you
go. Let's watch a little bit of that. How about that?
Something that you told me stayed in my head all night long. You wanted me to love you when you said simply reach out and touch me. My love is in your hands. Come on, boy, feel me, 'cause I want to feel the fire, yeah. Feel me, 'cause I want to feel you and you. Whoa, 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 whoa.
I gotta say this. That was the deal. That was the deal. That was the deal. We would be, I'm not kidding you. Like, we would sit and all my friends would be like, yeah, we gotta sing that song. We'd be like, feel me. I want to feel the fire. I mean, it was like, I gotta hear it again. Rewind. You know how when you like listening to it on the radio back in the day, and you be like, "Oh, record it, hit record, hurry up, hit record, somebody hit record." Right. Then you just rewind. Okay, what was she saying? I didn't understand. Did you hear what she said? We gonna write the lyrics down. That was the jam. That was one of those songs that you had to like record it and then go back, hear it again, write the lyrics down so that when everybody's singing it, we all got the lyrics right. Now, of course, I don't think we all got the lyrics right because there was some words I just, back in the day when you're young, you just don't catch it.
You sing what you think you heard.
Yeah, I know that's right. Yeah. And if you didn't get it right, you say watermelon.
Right. And so like for me, when he heard, because in that song, the original song, it modulated at the end. Mm-hmm. But I felt like it needs to do something else. So I had it modulate 3 times. And like when people heard those modulations and then like me hitting these notes, they're like, is she gonna be able to do that? And so for him, when he heard when it says, I want to feel you and you you whoa, 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 whoa. You know, when he heard that, he was like, oh my goodness.
It's over.
So I go to one of his shows after that. And he said, you're going to hear something real familiar to yourself. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, I had to take that arrangement. So when he does Feel the Fire live now, he does it the way that I recorded it. And I mean,
wow.
that for me, you know, like to have all these people like Luther Vandross and People Bryson, and I didn't even get to Betty Wright. Betty Wright was my mentor because when Soul of a Woman came out, she had Cleanup Woman out. And so her brother played in my band, and I didn't even know that this was her brother. He told me that was his sister because his last name was Wright, and I'm like, yeah. But when I ended up meeting her, she said, oh, my brother plays in your band. And I was like, oh my God, all these years he told me you were, you know, but Betty came into my life. And like I said, I'm one of 9 children. And so my mother really didn't know anything about the music industry. She just knew I had a gift. And so Betty stepped in and, you know, she would send me postcards and, you know, call me up and, you know, just inspire me, like kind of like what Luther did. Like, don't let this industry change you. You know, keep doing what you're doing because you're going in the right direction. And what's so crazy, like 2 weeks before Betty Wright passed, they had done an unsung on her.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I had like, we were texting back and forth, and I'm like, I'm so glad they're finally giving you your just due. And she, you know, she kept saying, oh, sweetheart, thank you. And before that, she kept sending me messages on Facebook because I was, you know, just kind of getting disillusioned with this music business. I'm just like, you know, maybe it's time for me to do something else, you know. And she kept telling me, no, you're one of the last men standing, so you got to keep, you know. And little did I know she was sick, but she never let me know. She just kept encouraging me to go on. And when I think about it, I just feel like it was Betty passing the torch to me, saying, continue to do this soul music, because if you don't, there's nobody else out there doing it like this. Like I've been doing it from the 70s. So I had all those mentors that, you know, I was around, like Billy Paul and, you know, Blue Magic and, you know, anybody you can think of, because there was a club in Boston called the Sugar Shack that, because I was a local artist, I would open for everybody. So I got a chance to see all these groups and perform with them. And, you know, so it was like a launching pad for me. And I, you know, I was a little sponge, and I just took everything that, you know, that I could get out of it.
Wow. Betty
You
was
know?
an amazing person. She really was. Not to, I be going into the Betty Wright stories, but I was singing many years ago on BET, and she comes into the room because it was the ribbon cutting of Bobby Jones' new facility that he had.
Okay.
And she's in the room, and she looks at me and she goes, and I'm like, and she's like, you Evelyn's daughter, aren't you? And I go, yes. And she goes, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you since you were this little.
That's Betty.
Yep. And she's like, come here, baby, come here. Give me a hug.
And that's her. I mean, just like, just not a selfish bone in her body. I mean, it's like when I met her daughters, she introduced them to me like, this is my first baby before I had you guys. And they were like, we've been hearing about you all our lives.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That is so, she was amazing.
You know, like for me, just to have that kind of thing, and, you know, those kind of mentors that we don't have in the music industry anymore, like people that are going to stand out and say, here's a step. Let me help you get up a little bit, you know.
Right.
And, you know, I'm saying all that to, you know, to lead into what's going on now with me. Because like that, you know, at that point, I'm still, you know, like Betty's inspiring me, but I got me a 9-to-5 job. I said, I need to have some benefits, and I need to be able to go get these pearly whites fixed. I need to get them fixed. And, you know, singing just ain't going to cut it.
Exactly.
And so I had a regular 9-to-5 job. I worked at a movie studio, and, you know, and I was good with that. And then, you know, one day on my Facebook, Big Rob pops up. And he's like, hey, he's talking to me on Facebook. You're one of the greats, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah. I'm done with all that crap. And so he was like, he would just kept going.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I said, you know what, let me just give you my phone number. So, I inboxed him my phone number and he called me. And, we just talked about music. He talked about being in Zap and how Bootsy Collins had given him his first thing. And I was like, okay, and so we're talking. And he's like, you need to really be doing this. And I'm still giving him the brush off. And so one morning I'm knocked out sleep. The phone rings. He goes, Margo. I was like, yeah. He said, God told me I'm supposed to write your next hit record. I'm looking like, what? And, I'm very, very spiritual. Mm-hmm. And when he said that, and I didn't know him, I said, you know what? If God said it, then let's get it done. And I flew out to Ohio, and, took me forever to get there. I don't know what kind of ticket he got me, but I stopped in every state. But I got there.
I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop.
I started early in the morning from LA, and I didn't end up, in Ohio until like 3:00 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
And so when I get there, he said, well, I'm gonna take you over to the hotel so you can get some rest. And I said, oh no. I said, if I'm here, I'm at least gonna put some background down. He was like, He's looking at me like, what? I said, yeah. I said, let's go. Mm-hmm. So he took me to the studio, and the song that's out now is a song that he had sent me. And so, I sing that song. Then he goes, but wait a minute, I got this other song. So he plays this Paper or Plastic song for me. And I'm like, I didn't even remember it. So I go back home. A few months go by. I don't hear from Big Rob. Then one morning he calls me again. It's time to put that record out. I said, what record? He said, Paper or Plastic. And he played it for me. And all I could do was bust out laughing. I was like, it's such a feel-good song. I said, with this song, it sounds so retro. It reminds me of Betty Wright. I said, I'm going to get me an Afro wig, and I'm gonna do a video that looks retro.
Is that on YouTube?
It's on YouTube.
What? Okay, wait. Paper or Plastic, right? Hold on a second. I have got to go get that. Hold on a second. Hold on. I am determined. I think I found it. Okay. Oh yeah. Wait, hold on a second.
Just to talk the video up, it wasn't like the world's greatest video, but it was just what I felt that the song, it's so retro that let's take it back to the 70s and make it look like that. And that's what my thoughts were with the song.
Okay.
LinkedIn Sales Navigator helps me build and maintain.
And so, it was so crazy because I didn't remember the song. And, when the song came up, I was kind of like,
I love your car.
I was just cracking up, Yeah. So here you go.
Okay, here we go. Wait, we gotta wait till here goes.
Oh my goodness, what it is, big baby. Here's a biggin' that everybody's digging. Written and produced by yours truly, the BIGGRBB Big Rob. This is called Paper or Plastic. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy, the BIGGRBB Big Rob. Now this right here is the new grown woman national anthem. Hey Margo, what you say? If he can't hit your cash app, he can't get none of that cootie cat.
I met this man, he was so fine. Satisfied my body, satisfied my mind. He gave me what I want, just the way that I want it. Good love and never disappointed. Good love and ain't all it takes to feed me. Put your money where your mouth is if you really need me. My love's not for sale, but I could use some help with these bills. I'm just
it.
And I mean, for me, it was such, and that's what I felt about the song. It just, when people hear it, it makes them laugh, and guys get mad at me. My wife likes that song. Now I got to go out and spend some paper or plastic on it because of you.
Hey,
and so, we put the song out, and then he was like, Margo, I just see you as an all-around singer. He's like, and Paper or Plastic, I think the Southern Soul people are gonna love it. He said, but you are also an R&B. He said, I just think you can sing anything you want to sing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we had done the What Do You Do song. And so when we did it, it was slower than what the version that's out now.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, but I just felt like I needed to do something else to the track. And so, we haven't done the video for the song yet.
Mm-hmm.
And but people are really starting to gravitate to the song. And I'm appreciative of like these interviews, like with you and everybody that's just showing an old soul singer some love.
We got to do that. Well,
you know
what?
So we did What Do You Do, and this is what's going on right now.
And don't you look good, girl? You look great. Okay, so hold on a second. We're gonna go ahead and wait.
It's all right. And so like for me, like the picture, when people see the picture, I love the comments that I'm getting, because people are like, you look like you own this song. You look like a boss.
You do. Here it is. Margo Thunder. What do you do?
Tell myself time and time again, if I give you all of me, maybe we can be more than friends. But every chance I get, you take my love, then you walk away. Well, every bone in my body wishes you would stay. What do you do? What do you do? When love don't love you, what do you do? What do you do? When love don't love you no more. What do you do? Give you all of me. What do I get in return? My girls keep asking me, Margo, when you gonna learn? But baby, I'm just a fool for loving you so deep. Will I ever be more to you than just a late night creep? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? When love don't love, don't love, don't love, don't love, don't love you. What do you do? When love don't love you. When love don't love, don't love, don't love, don't love you. What do you do? What keep trying to make it work, but maybe I need to think about myself first. But I love you. But I wanna know how you feel about me. What do you do? What do you do? When love don't love, don't love, don't love, don't love you. What do you do? What do you do? Love don't love you.
Sweetness. Wow, I love that. That's
Yeah, so
beautiful.
and people walking up to me, what do you do when love don't love you? I said, time to pack your bags and keep moving on.
That's right. That's right. Oh my gosh.
you know,
Wow.
but yeah, so that's where we
Wow.
are. And like I said, I appreciate everybody for showing me love and, just staying with me for all these decades. And first I got to thank God, for me to be able to still do this on this level like this
Hmm.
I'm 62 years old now and I'm still with his blessings, still able to do what it is that I do and won't stop until he says stop.
62.
62.
Where?
Right there.
Mm-mm.
That's 62.
You do not. You look beautiful. You don't look like no 60. I would have never thought that you were 62.
That's all right.
You look
And
good.
I welcome every year,
Hmm.
every scar and every wrinkle that I have. It just goes to show people that if you stick with something that, you can continue to do what it is you do. And, you just got to give the blessings to God and
That's
keep
right.
moving.
That's right. Always first. Always first.
Always.
Always. Wow. Miss Thunderman, I'm telling you, what a wonderful, wonderful interview. We went down memory lane. I mean, I went back to high school. I
Uh-oh.
went back to elementary in my brain. I mean, my brain was like, oh, remember when you were down the hallway? I mean, you took me back
Yeah.
to when music was just amazing and mentoring was just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you suggest these new groups, these new young ladies and men coming up today, when it comes to being that mentor? I mean, I don't think they know how to do it. How
Mhm.
does a person be a mentor?
For me, it's like a lot of people that I've worked with in the past that, they're starting to tell me now, well, like even the girls at 9.9, they were like, if it wasn't for your vision and you were our mentor, and they were older than me. And at the time I didn't realize it because I was just trying to do what was right and what I felt this is the path that I'm being led down. And with young artists, because I wrote some songs for this artist called JoJo, and JoJo was like 11 years old when she came to me, and she's from Foxborough, Massachusetts. She ended up signing to Black Ground Records,
Mm-hmm.
and for me, I just feel like I love collaborating with people, and I think new artists need to go back and look at old artists because we both have something to offer each other. Because
Mm-hmm.
I never put frown on what the new artists are doing. I love what Bruno Mars is doing, and I feel like he's going back and grabbing some of
Oh
that
yeah.
old stuff, in a way that young people are getting to hear this stuff. But me, I welcome anybody and I reach out to anybody. It's like I would love to collaborate with a lot of people because I think there you go. I think that's what makes music interesting is that, you take some of the old and some of the new. Because for me, as a 10-year-old, 11-year-old child, Aretha Franklin was old school for me, but it
Mm-hmm.
was what taught me to do what I do now. you
Mm-hmm.
know and so I just think like with these young artists, they shouldn't sleep on some of the older artists because we still have a lot to offer and
I
to
know.
put out there.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Mentoring. My mom was my mentor.
Hmm.
That was the person I was always around, and she was
Hmm.
already in the music industry. And I learned so much from her. I learned so much from all the different artists out there. You really do have to reach back. You
Hmm.
really do have to reach back and see where it all started, where it came from, and then you can add your flavor to it. I mean, music can be so much better if we did that,
Hmm.
if we all did that, if we all went back, if the rappers
Exactly.
went back to the gospel preaching, you know
Hmm.
what I mean? They would become better rappers. I mean, you can't get any worse
Hmm.
if you go back and get the originals.
And
Study.
this is the one thing my mother told me growing up. She said, if you're going to be a singer, don't be a dumb singer. She
Mm,
said, know where this stuff came from,
hallelujah. Mhm.
so she had me listening to Mahalia Jackson
Oh,
and like Leontine Price and all these different people that just made up for me as I decided, okay, I'm going to be an artist and I'm going to have a voice that when people hear it, they're going to say, that's Margo,
that's right.
because I took a little bit of all of that and put it in the soup and then put me in it. And, that's what I got. And so
Mm,
when people hear me sing, it's like, I remember I did this movie called Eddie and the Cruisers Part 2. And, you know, back then I was a session singer like Luther was. After a while, people would call me in the studio. And so I did this movie called Eddie and the Cruisers Part 2 and forgot about it. I got paid and forgot about it. And I went on a vacation to Aruba, and I turn on the TV and go in the bathroom. I hear my voice coming off the TV. I'm like, what the heck is that? It was from that soundtrack, you know.
Wow.
And so, and that's what I'm saying. So like with these new artists, it's just like, it's okay to go back. Old school is not bad school. You know, you can learn a lot. Just like I'm saying, I learn a lot from new artists every day when I'm hearing things. And for a while I taught vocal lessons. So, you know, I got to, you know, interact with younger singers and work with them. And, you know, they would try to sing something, and right away I knew what it was that they were trying to do. And I'm like, wow, this is kind of clever. They don't even know that this is what they're doing. And then when I would show them, I learned something as well. You know?
Reach back, guys. Reach back.
Yeah.
It's only going to improve you. Wow. Yeah. Miss Thunderman, I'm telling you, I don't want to let you go.
Well, I'm just so happy that, you know, I know you're a busy woman, and I'm glad that I was able to be put in a slot that I could get a chance to talk to you. And, you know, like I said, I hope this interview encourages younger artists as well as older artists. You know, it's like, for me, I got a chance I hadn't seen Tavares for years. And last week I got a chance to hang out with Chubby Tavares, which was the lead singer for the group. And, you know, we just went back and reminisced, and he was looking at me, he said, you were a little girl when we met you. And so, you know, like for me, I hold all this stuff in my heart. And like I said, any young artist, you know, that wants some information, they could go to my Instagram page, which is Margo Thunder House 7. Inbox me if you got any questions. I'd love to answer them if I can help you. Same thing with
what was that? Margo what?
Margo Thunder House 7. And
Thunder House. Spell that last one. I'm sorry.
It's Thunder House, one word.
Thunder House
7, the number 7. And
you
know, like I said, they can go there, and you know, like my Facebook is just Margo Thunder. And like I said, inbox me if you have any questions. If it's something I can help you with, there might be something you can help with me with. You guys might have a banging track that I might be like, whoa, let me get on that. And so that's what I'm saying. I'm not afraid of the collaboration, you know, because I just think, you know, there's not, you know, how they say too many cooks in the kitchen will spoil something. I don't feel like that with music, because I feel like, you know, like I said, I learned from a lot of people. When I started, you know, exploring what I wanted to be like, I stopped listening to singers and I listened to only instruments. Like, what would a trumpet sound like? What would a violin? And I started to put all those things into my music. So.
Yep. Yes. Miss Thunder, thank you.
Thank you. It's been great.
Such a wonderful time.
And, you know, it's so funny because you hear about people, but it's so good to put a face with a name and to, you know, just to feel somebody's energy and their spirit. And, you know, it's been a blessing for me to be here today.
Oh, it's been such a blessing for me to have you here today. Oh my gosh. I just thank you. Thank you. Thank you for listening to your mom.
Right?
Mamas know best.
Always.
Thank you.
All right.
Margo Thunder, ladies and gentlemen, I am telling you, if we didn't take you back and you don't remember any of those songs, you need to go back and study. I'm not going to lie to you.
Get on YouTube and check it out.
Check it like I did. I went on YouTube. You could do the same thing. Just go to YouTube and check out all the songs. Margo Thunder, I am telling you, if you missed any of this interview, go back and listen to it later on once it's finished, because this is a live show. And I'm thanking you guys so much for just like, wow. I absolutely love your voice.
Thank you so much.
I have always loved your voice and can't believe that you're on the show. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. You have a good one, okay?
All right, you too. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. And don't forget to dare to be different. We're going to have all that information in the description box below so you can go and follow, like, and comment. And don't forget, dare to be different. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
I did to be different.